A quiet voice in a loud world. I am an old man now. My hair is gray and my face has many lines, but I remember my teenage years very well. I often think about those days. My career depended on this one, important meeting I had. A man named Mr. Adam was a very powerful businessman. A partnership with him would make my small company very successful. I spent the whole week preparing for this important meeting. I read every document, and I practiced my presentation many times. My future, and the future of my employees, depended on this. The meeting was not at his office, but at his private home. He said he preferred to do important business in a quiet place. This made me feel a little bit more nervous than before. I drove to his house, which was in a very rich neighborhood. The house was very big and beautiful, like a picture in a magazine. It had a perfect garden and a large, impressive front door. I took a deep breath, and I rang the doorbell of the house. I tried to look confident, but my heart was beating very fast. This was the most important business meeting of my entire life. Mr. Adam opened the door himself with a very wide smile. He was a handsome man, tall, and with very confident eyes. He looked exactly like a very successful and powerful person. He welcomed me into his home, and he shook my hand firmly. His house was even more beautiful on the inside than the outside. Everything was clean and perfect and looked very expensive. The furniture was dark wood, and the floors were very shiny. There were large paintings on the walls and a big, beautiful staircase. It felt more like a palace than just a normal family house. We sat down in his large office to discuss our business deal. He was very charming, and he made me feel quite comfortable. He told a few jokes, and he offered me a cup of coffee. He was a very smart man, and he knew his business very well. We talked for about an hour about the details of our project. The meeting was going better than I'd ever dreamed. He liked my ideas, and he said my company had great potential. I felt a wave of relief and a great excitement inside me. This partnership was going to happen. I could feel it. He called for his wife to bring us some more fresh coffee. He said her name was Emma, and he said it with a smile, but there was something in his voice that felt a little cold. A few moments later, his wife came into the big office. She was a thin woman with large, sad eyes that looked down. She was holding a tray with 2 cups of coffee on it. She did not look at me. She only looked at the floor. She quietly placed the cups on the table in front of us. Her movements were very slow, and she seemed to be afraid. As she put down my cup, I saw a faint bruise on her cheek. It was a pale purple color, and she tried to hide it with her hair. I felt a strange and uncomfortable feeling in my stomach. Then, when she moved her hand away, I saw another mark. There was a dark spot on her wrist, like an old faded bruise. My mind started to race with some very bad, dark thoughts. Mr. Adam noticed me looking at her, and he let out a laugh. He said, "My dear Emma is so clumsy, always bumping into things." His explanation was very quick. A little too quick for me. Emma did not say a word. She just picked up the empty tray. She turned around and she left the office without looking back. The room felt colder after she had left it so quietly. I tried to forget what I saw and to focus on the meeting. This was my big chance, and I could not let anything ruin it. I had to push the bad thoughts out of my own mind. So I smiled at Mr. Adam, and I continued my presentation. I showed him the numbers and the plans for our great future. He seemed very impressed, and he nodded his head in agreement. But in the back of my mind, I could still see her sad eyes. I could see the purple bruise that was hiding under her hair. The image would not go away. It was stuck in my memory. I started to watch Mr. Adam more closely than I did before. I saw that his charming smile did not always reach his eyes. Sometimes, his eyes were as cold as a piece of winter ice. When he spoke about his success, his voice was loud and proud. But when he mentioned his wife's name, his tone changed. It became flat and hard, like he was talking about an object. These were very small things, but they made me feel very uneasy. The perfect house did not feel so perfect to me anymore. There was a darkness here, hiding behind the expensive walls. After another hour, the meeting was finally coming to an end. Mr. Adams stood up, and he extended his hand to me again. He said, "We have a deal. My lawyers will send the contract." I should have been the happiest man in the world at that moment. I had everything I wanted. My dream was finally coming true. But my heart felt heavy, and I did not know the reason why. I stood up, and I shook his hand, trying my best to smile. I thanked him for the opportunity and for his precious time. We walked together from his office to the large front door. As we stood in the hallway, he was talking about our first step. I was trying to listen, but my eyes were looking around. I was hoping to see his wife, Emma, just one more time. Then she appeared at the top of the big, beautiful staircase. She was holding my coat in her hands to give back to me. She walked down the stairs slowly, her eyes on the floor. She did not look at her husband. She only looked at me now. Her eyes were different this time. They were not just sad. They were full of a silent scream, a desperate plea for help. Mr. Adam turned his back to me to open the big front door. In that 1 second, Emma moved very quickly toward me. She helped me put on my coat with her small, trembling hands. As she was fixing my collar, she secretly slipped something in. It was a very small piece of paper, folded many times. I felt it go into the side pocket of my heavy coat. The whole thing happened in just a second, so fast and so quiet. Mr. Adam did not see it. He was still busy with the door. Emma stepped back. Her face was a mask of perfect calm, but her eyes told me a different story. A story of terror. They were begging me to understand and to do something. They were the eyes of a prisoner who was looking for a key. Mr. Adam turned back to me with his big, charming smile. He said it was a pleasure to do business with me today. I mumbled something back. My mind was a complete blank. I walked out of the perfect house and into the cold afternoon air. I got into my car and I sat there for a very long time. My hand was shaking as I reached into my coat pocket. My other hand was on the seat where the new contract could be. My future was in that contract. A future of success and money. I knew this was a moment that would define my whole life. I pulled out the tiny, folded piece of paper from my pocket. It was so small and so light. but it felt so very heavy. It felt like it weighed more than all the gold in that house. My heart was beating like a drum against my ribs, loud and fast. I had a terrible choice to make, a choice between two things. I had to choose between my own ambition and a woman's life. I knew that reading that note would change everything for me. There would be no going back to the man I was this morning. My simple world was about to become very complicated. I could just throw the note away and pretend that I saw nothing. I could sign the contract and build my company and my future. Or I could open the note and enter the darkness of that house. My fingers trembled as I slowly started to unfold the paper. I knew what the right thing to do was, the human thing to do. But I was also very afraid of losing all my dreams. My whole future was in my hands, a future of wealth and success. But my humanity was also there, in that small piece of paper. I took a deep breath, and I opened the note very slowly. The writing inside was shaky, the writing of a very scared hand. There were only 2 words written in the middle of the paper. The 2 words were simple. They just said the words, "Help me." My blood ran cold when I read those 2 simple words. This was not a small problem. This was a cry for a real lifeline. I turned the small note over, and I saw there was an address. The address was not for the big house I had just left. It was for a small street in a completely different part of town. I knew it must be a safe place where she could go to. My mind was a storm of 1,000 different thoughts. I thought about my company, my employees, and all our dreams. The contract with Mr. Adam was our only ticket to success. If I helped her, I would lose everything that I worked for. Mr. Adam would destroy my company and my reputation. I would be a failure, a man who lost his one big chance. But then, I thought about Emma's eyes, full of so much fear. I thought about the bruises that she was trying to hide from me. I could not pretend that I had not seen her silent scream. What is the value of success if you have to sell your soul? What good is a rich life if you cannot sleep well at night? I knew I could not live with myself if I chose the money. So I made my decision in that car, in that quiet moment. I started the engine, but I did not drive to my own home. I turned the car around and drove towards the new address. It was the address of a small community center for women. I parked my car, and I went inside. My heart was pounding hard. I did not know what to do. I just knew I had to be there. I told the woman at the front desk about the situation. She had a kind face, and she listened to me very carefully. She told me that I had done the right thing by coming here. She said we had to call the police. This was very serious. She called them, and she explained everything that I told her. She said a woman was in danger in a very powerful man's house. The police said they would go to the house to check on her. They said they would be careful because Mr. Adam was well known. We could only wait and hope that Emma would be safe. Those minutes of waiting were the longest minutes of my life. I was so worried about her. What if Adam had found out? What if he hurt her because she had tried to ask for help? After about an hour, my phone started to ring in my hand. It was the police calling me back with some important news. My hand was shaking as I answered the phone and said hello. The police officer told me that they had visited the big house. At first, Mr. Adam was very charming, and he denied everything. He said his wife was emotional and that she was not well. But the police insisted on speaking with his wife all alone. A female officer went upstairs to talk to Emma in her room. And in that safe moment, Emma found the courage to speak. She told the officer everything about her husband's cruelty. She showed her the bruises that were hidden under her clothes. The police took her from that house and brought her to a safe place. When I heard this news, I felt a huge wave of relief. She was safe now. She was free from that beautiful, cold prison. I had done the right thing. I had made the right choice. The next day, the story was all over the city's news. The police had arrested Mr. Adam for hurting his own wife. His perfect world had come crashing down around him. Of course, my business deal with him was completely gone. My company lost its big chance, and we were in big trouble. My employees were worried, and I had to tell them the truth. I told them the whole story and what I had chosen to do. They were disappointed about the contract, but they understood. They told me that they were proud of me for my decision. The next few months were very hard for my small company. We lost a lot of money, and we almost had to close down. But we all worked together, and we managed to survive. We did not become rich, but we stayed honest, and we worked hard. We found smaller projects, and we slowly started to grow again. My life was not what I had dreamed of, but it was good. One day, about a month later, I received a letter in the mail. It did not have a return address, but I knew who it was from. The handwriting was the same as the shaky writing on the note. It was a letter from Emma. She was writing to thank me. She said she was safe now and living in a new city. She was starting a new life, a life without any more fear. She wrote that my small act of courage had saved her life. It gave her the strength to speak up and to break her silence. She said she would never forget what I had done for her. She ended the letter by saying that I was a very good man. That one line was worth more to me than any big contract. It was a different kind of success, a much better kind. I folded the letter, and I put it in my desk drawer. It is still there today, and I read it sometimes when I feel down. It reminds me of the choice I made and the person I want to be. I learned a very important lesson on that strange day. True wealth is not measured by the money in your bank account. It is measured by the kindness that is in your own heart. Success is not about how high you can climb in the world. It is about helping other people when they have fallen down. It is about making the world a little better than you found it. I lost a big business deal, but I did not lose myself. I saved a person's life, and in a way, I also saved my own. I saved myself from becoming a man who only cared for money. I can look at my face in the mirror every single morning. I do not see a rich man, but I see an honest man, and that is a much better reflection to see every day. My company is still small, but it is a company with a soul. We try to do good work and we treat our employees well. We are a different kind of successful, and I am proud of that. Sometimes, I think about Mr. Adam in his big and empty house. He had everything in the world, but in the end, he had nothing. His wealth was a prison for him and for the people around him. My life is not a palace. It is a small and simple house, but it is a happy home. It is full of warmth and of peace. I would not trade my life for all the money in the world. The choice between right and wrong can sometimes be very hard. Our ambition can be very loud, and our fear can be very strong. But the quiet voice of our conscience is the one to follow. It is the voice that guides us to be the best version of ourselves. It is the voice that helps us to sleep well at night. And it is the voice that gives our life a real and true meaning. I did not become the powerful businessman I wanted to be, but I became a better man. And that is a much bigger prize. I chose humanity over business, and I would do it again. Thanks for watching. If you liked this story, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to keep learning with me.